as a woman, do you think it was harder for you to arrive at this position? I guess yes, but I want to hear it from you and how. What kind of obstacles did you encounter?
In this industry that is more focused around product development and engineering as well as creative design, in consultancy in the UK, it is 5% women, 95% men. It's worse than architecture or software development. It's very difficult for women to break into. I don't think I realised that when I first started working in this field, but it became very obvious because there were not many women around in the business or in other businesses that I came across. So it's harder, but I actually think in a way you can use your skills as, in terms of, as well as being strong and sort of good at what you do, that's fundamentally the basis. You have to be great at what you do, and you have to be focused and determined in terms of how you can drive forward scenarios to enable opportunities to come from those. And I think probably you have to be a bit thick-skinned and potentially not really care as much about what some people might say or think, because I think, as in every field, there are old-fashioned attitudes sometimes about what women should and shouldn't do, but it's important to be able to set examples for our kids now and, women that are starting out on these career paths to demonstrate to them that they can achieve whatever they want. It might not be to be a CEO, it might be to be something entirely different, but whatever their motivation, the opportunities are there.
And you think that women, if it's kind of a generality, but again, I want to hear it from you and your point of view as a woman, but do you think men are more thick-skinned than women in general in business, or is it just an idea that...
I think it's difficult to generalize because obviously everybody is different, but we can see statistically that there is more confidence in terms of their own abilities often in men. And that's not just my view, that's actually quantitative data that's proven that. So for example, if a man has 2 or 3 of the 10 skills required, statistically, he is more likely to apply for that role. Whereas if a woman is applying for the same role and has 8 of those 10 things, statistically, she is less willing to apply. She is less likely to negotiate on her package and her salary. She is less likely to ask for, for additional benefits, etc. So there's been a lot of studies that have gone on in terms of behaviours. So I think, obviously as well, if you don't necessarily fit in, if you don't look like everybody else around you, and whether that's because you're a woman or any factor at all, that makes it harder because you see less similarities and you just generally fit less because you are not the same as the other people around you. So I think that does make it harder. But ultimately, hence the point about saying you have to almost stop caring about some of that and drive through that.
So that's a great advice for them, I guess. And what kind of tips would you give to any woman who wants to climb the ladder, whatever the industry is, and be like you and great at what you do? And so one of the advice is that stop caring and be more thick-skinned, maybe a woman or man, by the way. But what are the other advices would you give, especially to women?
Yeah, I think it's stop caring so much. I think caring is great and being empathetic and demonstrate, but potentially stop caring so much about what other people think about you. I think that can hold people back because it can impact on confidence. I think there's a saying that I use, which is behind every great woman, there is many, many more women. So I think that's important in terms of finding your network, finding your support, and finding that in an environment that you're comfortable in, which is harder for women, because I think it's important that you have sponsors, you have mentors, you have people who can give you advice and perhaps are potentially a little bit removed from the situation. So we have set up mentoring schemes, sort of, and the work that we do through an organisation called Kerning the Gap around women in leadership. There is another quote that I like using, which was Madeleine Albright, who was Secretary of State in the US a few years back, and she said that there is a special place in hell for women who do not support other women, because I think some women choose not to, but ultimately it's a responsibility if you climb the ladder to send the ladder back down and to make sure that people are that you're helping people potentially how you were helped in your career. I think it's a mistake to think that if you've made it yourself, that other people should do the same. I think we have a responsibility to help people progress and grow and learn.